So my name is Tristan. I come from Singapore. I think most important is that we as a company, Geneva Capital, we are very active in this space. 1 year alone, we completed 5 Nasdaq listing through this SPAC mechanism, which I will share with you shortly. I think we are proud to have this achievement. And because of this, we were very proud to be ranked number 3 globally and number 1 in Asia in terms of SPAC IPO listing. Right, and this is a great honor that I bring with me here. And of course, I think the greatest news that I bring to all of you here is that, congratulations, PRIFE is going to go public listed in Nasdaq America. How about that? PRIFE is going to be listed publicly in Nasdaq America. Main board, not OTC, main board. Let me just give a little bit of a simple sharing with you about public listing. It's a subject that I got a lot of passion about. There's only 3 main ways that a company can go public listed. Number 1 way, which I think most people are familiar with, is the traditional IPO, initial public offering. That is what most, I shouldn't say most because now it is not quite most. Most people are familiar with the traditional IPO. This is a common method because most people only know this method. But for this method to work well, the company has got to have a decent track record. I'm talking about 3 years, nice profit. You're going to do some pre-listing fundraising. And in my opinion, the disadvantage, if I call it, of this type of listing method is that there is an element of uncertainty, because you cannot say for sure that you will definitely be listed on any exchange, whether it's Thailand, in Malaysia, Singapore, or Nasdaq. You cannot say for sure, no matter how confident you are, because at the end of the day, it depends on many factors, especially at the hands of the underwriters who will put the company up for public listing. So there's an element of uncertainty in this type of listing. And also, most importantly, you cannot know exactly what is the listing price on that day that the companies get listed. You can say, I want $10, I want to be listed at $10, but if the underwriters cannot sell your stock at $10, it will not be $10. It may come back at $3, take it or leave it. That's why many times this type of listing end up with not the most pleasant outcome. The second type of method is called reverse takeover. Some people call it backdoor listing. Basically, what you are doing is that you spend money to buy a shell company that's already listed in the stock exchange, and then you inject your asset, which is your company, into that already listed company. That's why it's called a backdoor listing or a reverse takeover. Because the company is already being listed, you are technically going in via the injection of your asset, of your capital. In this way, you will get there, you will get your listed, but again, I see that there are many disadvantages in this type of listing, mainly because when you buy a shell, what kind of shell is out for sale? Obviously, the shell has got some issues, right? It is not doing well, that's why they are selling. They are just call it a day and say, I don't want to play anymore, I let you have it, right? And usually that kind of situation, you will not see from the outside, but when you do the takeover, you realize there's a lot of problems injecting your asset into this kind of strategy. And also nowadays, if you talk about buying a shell, it is not cheap. Just give you a ballpark figure. To buy a shell company in Nasdaq, to inject your asset, it will set you back by about $8 million US. 7-8 million, sometimes can go as high as heard before. People can sell as much as 9-10 million for a shell. This is the current market rate. And in my opinion, that's way too expensive, and it will take a long time for you to complete the injection of your company. The last, which of course is my favorite, and that's the only other way of getting yourself listed, is via a merger with a SPAC company, S-P-A-C. I'll go with you shortly what is a SPAC. And this is a very beautiful way of, ingenious way of getting yourself listed. A lot of people have not heard about it. Some may have heard, but you do not know the details of it. That's why I'm here. And this is the method that I'm glad PRIFE is choosing. And I'll tell you the definite benefits and definite advantage of why this method of listing will give you more value, better results, and more certainty. Okay, what is a SPAC? S-P-A-C. It stands for Special Purpose Acquisition Company. Now, let's just give you a little bit of history. It is not something new. SPAC started in 1993, way back in 1993 by a group of investment bankers in New York. They started it. From 1993 to 2020, there were SPACs around, but honestly, not many people have heard about this. But suddenly in the year 2020, when the COVID comes, suddenly it just burst. It just burst into the scene. In 2021, there are 671 SPACs alone listed in Nasdaq in 2021. Every day, there are about 2 or 3 SPACs listed on Nasdaq. That's a crazy number. So it got so hot that it attracted some kind of good and bad as usual. So it toned down a little bit. The last 2022, 2023 toned down a little bit, but we see a huge surge in interest in last year, 2025, and the interest gone up by as much in this year. And I look at it, in the next year, it will be one of the hottest things around in Wall Street, particularly because our dear Mr. Donald Trump is a fan of this, and he himself, his own company called Trump Media Technology, whereby his Truth Social media app, that's the only business inside, is listed via this way, via a merger with a SPAC. Check out this stock. This stock, which has got revenue less than $1 million, is traded at $3 billion US market cap at a crazy price of $11. It's gone down by quite a lot last 2-3 months, but it's still at $3 billion for a company that has got revenue not more than $1 million US. So that is one of many cases that I can share with you about the magnitude of this type of listing. So what is a special purpose acquisition company? It is nothing but a shell company, right? It is nothing but a shell company. Is listed up on Nasdaq and New York Stock Exchange, but primarily we are talking about Nasdaq because most SPACs are, 95% of SPACs are listed on the Nasdaq. America has 2 exchanges, Nasdaq and New York Stock Exchange, but we are talking about Nasdaq currently because that's where most SPACs are listed. So once it's listed, it has got 36 months timeline to look for a target company, an active company to merge, and then this way allows a target company to replace it as the listed company. You got that? Now, I repeat, SPAC is a shell company. You look at the graph above, the green color. Inside, it's got nothing, no business. It's got a pool of cash, ranges at least from 50 million and above, because that's a smaller SPAC, US dollar I'm talking about. It's got nothing but just cash. Its only purpose of survival is that within 36 months, it must be able to find a company, the middle one, and 2 of them merge, kawin, married, and the target company replaces the SPAC to become the listed company. Easy, right? Everybody understand? Just marry, right? It's sole purpose, just marry. And the target company, through this way, takes over everything inside the SPAC, the cash, the board seats, everything, the control, everything, and becomes the listed company in this aspect. Now, think about it. I know it's after lunch, but give me your next 5 minutes. Think about it. Is this way guaranteed? Is this listing guaranteed? Why? Very simple reason. It is, I won't say 100%, but to a large extent is guaranteed, because SPAC is already a listed company. It is a shell listed on the Nasdaq. And when a target goes inside to merge with the with the SPAC, it is not applying to be listed. It is just a merger, merging with the SPAC to replace it as the public company. That's why I say this is a smart way of getting listed. Remember, there's only 3 ways of getting listed. Through this way, I have to be careful because I'm standing around 5,000 people, but you know, you have a slogan, we are family, right? We are family, okay? We can say that to family. I would like to say that technically and logically, any company can be listed via this way. Wow, hear that? Any company, because it is a merger. SPAC is already a listed company. You just completed the merger, boom, you are a public listed company, just like that. Got that? Okay. I know currently there's many things that is in your mind you'd like to ask. Of course, like I said, it is impossible for me to be talking about the details of such a technical subject in like 15 minutes. So my purpose of coming here is to share with you the macro, the overview of this way of listing. Now, why is this important? Now, do you want your listing to be definite 100%? Yes or no? Do you want your listing to be guaranteed 100%? Yes or no? Yes. Do you want to know for sure what is the listed price at the point of listing? Do you want to know without a question or doubt? What is your listed price? Do you want to know? Yes. Right? And if that is a yes and a yes, the only way you can achieve that is through merger with a SPAC, and you go listed via this way. Now the good news, ladies and gentlemen, is that once PRIFE completes the merger with the SPAC, the rules of the SPAC listing states very clearly that the listing price of the listed company, which I reckon that you'll be, I don't know what is it called, PRIFE Global, PRIFE Inc., whatever, that's the decision of the boss, will be $10 per share. That is 100%, ladies and gentlemen. That is the rule of the SPAC. You don't have to guess. It's unlike a traditional IPO, you won't need it, but it's a merger. Once you complete the merger with a SPAC in about 6 to 9 months, the merger process, the listing price will be $10 per share. I stand in front of you, 5,000 people, to say this. That, to me, is a definite benefit of a SPAC listing, right? Because your company, PRIFE, will be listed on the Nasdaq at $10 per share. Yeah, give yourself a good clap. And congratulations, right? So, hereby, it presents huge opportunities. I had a glance at your booklet just now before I come up. I walked through the exhibition booth 1 round of the stadium. And honestly, I must say that I am really impressed by I was told that it's like 4 years. You did this in 4 years? 4 years! Oh, come on! 4 years, you achieved this. I start to think, what about 8 years? What about 10 years? What will PRIFE be like? I think it's amazing. There are not many companies. I have seen many small, big companies. I deal with public companies. I have not seen many companies with that ability, with that potential that I see in this company. And again, before I leave, I would like to say congratulations. I apologize if I'm not able to say in the clearest way, but please bear in mind this is a short 15 minutes. Get the idea that, first of all, takeaway is that your company, PRIFE, will be listed on Nasdaq for sure, 100%. The listing price is $10 per share. Forget about everything. Remember these 2 things, and you are well on your way for success. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time. I wish you all the best. I hope to be able to see you again. I'm sure I will in better times, even better times. Thank you very much.